Hello, welcome to PODnas. This is a sports show with some Southern and Cajun flair. I'm Daniel Hawks. That's Jared Roser. Today we are going with week 2 of college football. We're going to do our PODnas Pick 7 preview, everything that we got going on this weekend, and we got a couple of little tidbits for you. Also, it's high school football starting this week?
High school and NFL. We're recording this Thursday morning. We'll have games at both those levels tonight. So it's the first full go football.
I'll be asking Jared to give me a little preview of what's to come on those Friday nights. We'll definitely talk about those on our Monday recap show. So let's get into it, though. Jared, how you doing today?
Good, man. Like we just said, it's full go. All 3 levels of football now back, and so I'll be on a lot of high school sidelines the weeks to come. LSU, we'll talk about in a few minutes, has their home opener this week, coming back off of that great road win. And so it'll be my first weekend in Tiger Stadium this week. And so a lot of energy around Baton Rouge and energy in the air, and looking forward to everything that's ahead.
Now, speaking of what's ahead, we'll get into the game preview for LSU versus Louisiana Tech. But Brian Kelly cannot let go of Dabo Swinney. Or Dabo Swinney can't let go of Brian Kelly. I don't know which one it is. Either way, it is hilarious. BK's in his presser on Monday, right?
It was Tuesday this week because of Labor Day.
And someone mentions about Dabo Swinney gave grades to both the Clemson and the LSU team, and he gave Clemson like a 50-something. He gave LSU a 60-something.
I think it was a 65 and a 58 for LSU and Clemson, respectively.
Both are failing grades if we're going on that 7-point sliding scale, which I don't know if people do anymore. Whatever. Still a D and an F if we're going by that scale out of 100. Now, BK had some interesting stuff to say. He literally basically said, Dabo, I don't know what game you were watching. We crushed y'all in the second half. Maybe you don't want to watch that game. Maybe that's why. But he said that the Tigers dominated in that second half. What do you feel about any kind of head coach or anything? Because this is a team that you most likely could see later in the year in that college football playoff. I don't think either team is out of it. This is just some bulletin board material, but it may not be bulletin board material that ever comes to fruition. So what do you think about this? Just what are your initial thoughts before we get into this pick 7?
I think we've talked about like some topics kind of similar to this in the past couple of years, where essentially I think everyone has become so tight-lipped and buttoned up and brand conscious and don't do bulletin board material and whatnot as a norm in the social media era where we're so tight with it. So much becomes kind of routine and bland and run of the mill. And so it makes those moments where guys do kind of step out a little bit and make some funny, lines or some, share some more confidence and don't just give you coach speak. It makes it that much more exciting. And I enjoy it. I think for me, and I know I've said this on the show, say what you want. If you're not overly disrespecting someone, I guess, like, I don't know. I guess there are lines in place to not be
unless you're Tommy Castellanos and then you say Nick Saban's not here to save you. I'm totally down with that. I
was gonna get there. If you're not being directly offensive to someone in some way, and you're just like expressing confidence or being playful or having some fun with it, as long as you're prepared to deal with the fact that there is going to be some backlash to this and people are going to have some things to say and that it may be used as motivation for the other side, then by all means, let her rip if that's something you're consciously making that choice and do that. And yeah, we're living in the Tommy Castellanos era now where he just backed up everything he said this summer in a huge way against the Tide. So I think right now everyone's feeling really good about letting some things fly.
Letting that ish loose is, I think.
If you can go back it up. And I think Kelly talked about it Tuesday as well with the whole 1-0 mantra, which I still don't understand why a lot of fans and media around the nation overblew that as more than like a pretty normal football mantra of we're trying to go 1-0 this week. But he talked specifically about wearing those 1-0 shirts into Death Valley Junior on Saturday and said that he knew the team that he had this year was a veteran team, and the makeup of that team, that he knew that they could handle whatever came with that sort of a dynamic, and that there would be the potential that some people jumped on that and took some pictures, but that he knew that the group could handle it. And so I think that's kind of part of where he's at mentally right now too, is knowing that this team can handle some of these things. He can say some things like that, and, you know, trust that his guys don't get thrown by that one way or the other. But BK, I think, has a personality where he likes to kind of make some jokes and get some little jabs and have some fun with it in general. And right now, off of a top 5 win, I think he and the program are also feeling themselves a little bit. And so they're having that much more fun with it, all in the context of a lot of this week talk was still, hey, that's great. We did a nice thing to start the season. Now it's 1-0 this week. Louisiana Tech is what's important. Like last week is kind of in the rear view, but as he was turning the page on Tuesday, he still had a little bit of fun with it, obviously. And I loved it. I tweeted banger BK line alert or whatever the hell I tweeted.
Oh, that's amazing. Love that. But hey, let's get into the reason why we're here. Our PODnas Pick 7 every week. We pick 7 games and we're going to go over them, kind of give you what our thoughts on it at the end of the year. We'll see who has the better record. Loser has to do something stupid. Last year it was me. This year it'll probably be me. But for now, we're all tied, baby. All right. Going into week 1, it's like week 1 again because we are straight up 4-3 together.
I really like how us being tied right now is like a team that started the season with a win against a lower opponent, and the fan base is just through the roof. Like, this year's different. This year's we got it. And then at whether it's this week or a week to come, there's going to be a really bad Birdman week, and the fan base is going to be trying to fire the coach.
The fan base, that means I have a fan base. That'd be great. Oh my goodness.
Well, Nick and Chet love you very dearly. I know they watch.
Oh, let's get into it. And we'll start out with the LSU Tigers game. Louisiana Tech, Sonny Cumbie and company are coming into Death Valley, the real Death Valley. Stamp it. They are coming into number 3 LSU. There's going to be at 6:30 p.m. First game at Tiger Stadium of the year. If you're not in Baton Rouge, you're going to have to go to ESPN Plus to watch it. That's just the way that stuff goes. So I hope you have that Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN subscription.
Oh, brand new bundle. Go get
brand new bundle. Go get that bundle if you want to watch it. I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about here. Tiger just need to make sure they take care of business and don't play with their food. Louisiana Tech coming off a really good win. But we just saw LSU come off an even better win in an even more difficult environment. And they are being looked at as one of the favorites nationally now, which we've been banging the drum on. If everything goes correct, that could happen here. What I would love to see is Chris Hilton get a little bit more going. Same way with Arch, going up against 3 more mediocre opponents. I feel like this can really be a get-right game for those guys who maybe didn't get off to the best start last week. And there were a couple of them. But, overall, everyone played well. But you got some people. Chris Hilton had, I think, 2 catches for -1 yard, something like that. Let's get him a little bit more involved. Those people that maybe weren't showcased in that 17-10 win versus Clemson can come in and maybe get their feet from under them on this new season. I'm very much looking forward to it. I did want to ask, when is Nick Anderson coming back? Or when is he?
I don't know what his timeline is.
Because I would really love to see him get ramped up, because I think that just adds, if we can have both the Anderson brothers or boys on the outside or in that wide receiver court, I really think that's going to be such a dynamic duo moving forward as we get into this SEC schedule, which is going to start next week or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, and it says quite a bit that they're loaded enough with wide receiver talent that Nick Anderson not being available this past week doesn't even become, or Nick Anderson and the rough Chris Hilton game, you're still talking about, man, Aaron Anderson with the big runs, Xavier Thomas doing a lot of different things, and just realizing there's a lot of depth there. Kyle Parker with a huge catch. But I agree largely with you. It should be a really long evening in Death Valley for Louisiana Tech. I think they're excited with the way they started the season against Southeastern, and rightfully so, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, where you end up with a couple takeaways, a long fumble return for touchdown and all those things, and shut out the Lions. But offensively, Southeastern still outgained, outpassed, more first downs, all those things than Louisiana Tech. And so when you watch what that LSU defense just did to Clemson and Cade Klubnik and all those guys, it feels like it bodes pretty rough for Louisiana Tech to come down to LSU and try and sustain much and get much going, and against the way
the line is 37.5. Are you taking it? That's via ESPN Bet. I don't know if that's what it is on the other apps, but
yeah, I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot of points against a group of 5 opponent that has been talked about as potential bowl team and all those things. I think that line ultimately comes down to how well LSU does kind of stick with its mantra and settle in and lock in and focus and play to the best of its ability this week. And that this is one of those weeks, despite the fact that it's an FBS opponent, that it's all about LSU playing up to its standard, and doing some of the things you talked about, getting some guys going that maybe weren't going last week. I do expect that Nuss is going to have a pretty big game, like a 300-plus yard passing game, a few touchdowns, all those things, even against a Louisiana Tech defense that I think is solid for its level. Brian Kelly compared it to last year against Nicholls State, essentially, where they did not, in the first half, particularly play up to their standard, and they need to be in the right locked in, focused state of mind and executing effectively. And so I don't have any question that LSU wins this game, but 37.5, really, you just want to see how LSU comes out, and if they're fitting gaps effectively and locking up tackles. And you want to see them come out of the gate strong in that season opener, and I think they will. But 37.5 is a lot, so I'm probably just staying away from it entirely.
Probably, but got to ask the questions. We got to find some stuff to talk about here.
Well, I don't have the Illinois pass through tax that they're putting on y'all's bets or whatever now. So I might fire something on somewhere later on in the week.
Yeah. I think if anything, I'm just going to go money line if I bet LSU, which probably isn't a great bet. Anyway, I really hope, like what you're talking about, to really see this team lock in and take care of business, and not be super obvious that they're looking towards Florida next week.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing that I'm kind of looking for. So I think LSU takes it as well. We're not going to break off from this game, okay? Because we both got W's. So take that, man.
Sonny Cumbie and those guys, they can throw a lot at you. And they can present some challenges when they're, executing correctly and in their rhythm. Perk and those guys are gonna come after this Bulldogs backfield, and I think create some problems. And I don't think Louisiana Tech is ever really going to get settled. And then it's a matter of not giving up some big plays, some busts, some miscommunications, some things like that. And so we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, we're on pretty much the same page with this thing.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Next up is Baylor at number 17, SMU. Baylor is coming off a loss last week, very late, versus who are they playing? I forget.
Auburn.
Auburn, very late versus Auburn. And then SMU is coming off a win for their season. The Baylor quarterback last week had 400 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. I think that this is something that SMU could possibly have a little upset here. I think Baylor could come back and get them. Am I going to pick that? No, I'm not. I'm going to go with SMU here. SMU is a 2.5 point favorite. I think that they're going to probably win by a touchdown or so. Battle of Texas, kind of. Battle like off-brand Texas right now. Battle of one of the Texases. So I do think SMU just has a really good team this year, and obviously I picked them because of their colors and uniforms. So I can't back off that now.
This is going to be a fun game to watch, and I feel like is a tough game to pick. And I asked you earlier about your birthday and whatnot, and joked that I was creating for you a fake Tinder, and it was because I was checking. SMU has not beaten Baylor in your lifetime.
Really?
These teams haven't played in several years, but it has been Baylor dominating through the years since going back to the 80s. And I think that drought for SMU against the Bears does end this week. I think they're two solid teams. I think the veteran quarterback play for Kevin Jennings and that SMU offense, and it was good to see Romello Brinson, the transfer.
I was about
from
to
Miami.
say that's the one player I do know now, since he came out with 120.
Mello?
Yeah, when he came out with 121 receiving yards last week. Dude is a stud on 7 receptions.
He's another
he had a
another guy.
long.
He's another guy I know from the 7-on-7 circuit back with his days with my buddies with the Miami Immortals down there in South Florida, and they had a great crew then, and Romello was making acrobatic highlight reel catches over dudes on the regular on those Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm so excited for him to kind of find his next opportunity, and I mean clearly be balling for the Mustangs right now. But I think that it's probably going to be similar to that Baylor Auburn game in the sense of just some backs and forths to it and big swings. Last week, Baylor scored a touchdown, was right back on Auburn's heels. And then another guy, Louisiana guy, former West Monroe star, Rayshon Pleasant, late in the third quarter, returns a kickoff for a touchdown, and that kind of spaced it out enough and extinguished that comeback push. But I think there's going to be some of that frenetic energy at times to this. But I like SMU to pull the thing out.
Yeah, I think it's just both teams are so pass happy. I think that it's just going to be, like you said, back and forth. And I really think Baylor's the perfect others receiving votes team this year. It feels like they're just going to hang out in that 26-30, like probably a lot of the year. And it'll probably be up because they are, feels like going to be a tough out, matter if you're a ranked team or, a team that's a little bit more on their level. With some of those other teams in the Big 12. So, yeah, you both got SMU there?
Yeah.
Let's book it. All right. Next up, Tulane at South Alabama at USA. Tulane is taking on the – I hope USA doesn't say anything about New Orleans because we know what happens.
Yeah.
That is going to be 6 p.m. on ESPN+. I think this Tulane team is marked and ready for this playoff, so I'm going to stick with that. I know you picked them as well, so I would doubt that maybe you picked South Alabama, but I'm going to go with Tulane here, taking this W.
This South Alabama program has been tough for the Louisiana schools at times. It certainly presents challenges, and you've got to go on the road to their place. And as excited as we all were with the way Tulane started the season, there's certainly some development that needs to happen for that group from week 1 to week 2 and on through this season to reach kind of where they want to be. And so, I take nothing for granted in this one. I don't feel it obviously as confidently as I do about LSU taking care of Louisiana Tech or any of those things. But yeah, I mean, Summerall, we talked about it when we talked Monday. He feels really good about bringing guys' egos back down to earth off of a win and getting them refocused. And maybe he's in their ears this week saying, South Alabama guys, Mobile claims Mardi Gras too. Like, we need to show them who's the real Mardi Gras this week. We're really on this don't disrespect New Orleans train. Let's keep that thing rolling and go there and show them who the real Mardi Gras is. But yeah, I think this Tulane team is you said primed and ready for the playoffs. I think it's a mature, locked-in group that recognizes that last week was just the beginning and next week is next week, and they've got to focus on the task at hand and go out there and perform. And I like them to go on the road and win.
I'm really interested to see how Jake Retzlaff is on the ground. If he does have another big game, if he's going to truly be kind of this dual threat kind of quarterback, or if that was just kind of what was kind of happening within the game last week, and he was able to bust off a couple of runs, or if it's a little bit more of a balance, a traditional balance attack where he's attacking through the air, maybe running a little bit, but leaving the halfbacks to kind of take some of that load of the rushing. Because the last thing you want to do is take these early hits early on the season, and the more and more you're taking off and running. Only had 10 carries with 1 touchdown, but more and more you're taking off and running, more and more we get through this season, more of those hits are just going to accumulate. So really interested to see what that kind of looks like with him this week, having another week and knowing they still getting acclimated to this 2-lane system.
It's funny you say you're interested to watch how he looks running the ball and kind of what the consistency level of what he brings there is going to be, because I'm really interested to see. I thought you were going to say the same thing I was thinking, which is I'm interested to see the continued efficiency of the passing game and just kind of bringing that completion number up some, the timing with the receivers. He's obviously only been on campus still not even 50 days. It was, I think Saturday was 38 days. And so it's not surprising that they're still kind of trying to find their rhythm in that regard, but solid start in the opener against a Big Ten opponent, but definitely strides to be made in that area in terms of execution in the passing game.
Well, and it is just nice to know that they have a quarterback that can run if stuff breaks down, or if maybe doesn't know necessarily what that play is or remember what that is after being called and making that he can make something out of his legs, that it's not just kind of dead in the water if something breaks down, whether that's mentally or with the play outward on the field or anything like that. So that should be fun to at least check in on in the upcoming weeks with this 2-lane team.
Interesting too. I mean, we talked about a quarterback battle going into the season before Brendan Sullivan got banged up. And so now as he's getting back healthy, but Jake Retzlaff is coming off of a strong opener overall, how does that quarterback position continue to develop overall? And, do they split some opportunities? How does it all kind of continue to take shape in terms of, whether Retzlaff takes that job and completely runs with it, or if he stumbles, does Brendan Sullivan jump on that thing and find himself a bigger role? I think he's probably involved in the offense in some capacity regardless. And so
sorry,
what?
Jump on that thing.
And so if it is ultimately Jake Retzlaff's job, similar to what we watched with Ty Thompson last year, who ends up going from a highly touted quarterback to being converted to a key tight end piece for this offense. Last year he was kind of the Tebow-esque role early on of a guy that they could rely on in the running game and just provide some different looks, particularly once you got down in the red zone. What are some of the packages at least that we see Brendan Sullivan start getting involved with? But it's going to be interesting to just watch how it all takes shape one way or the other.
Absolutely. So you got 2-lane, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, cool. I was just making sure. All right, let's move on. Next up, number 15, Michigan is at number 18, Oklahoma. I think they should do a Big Ten SEC challenge every year, where just one plays the other. And I mean, it's kind of already happened this year. Ohio State at Texas, Michigan at Oklahoma. But I kind of want the Big Ten to play some of the OG SEC schools, not these two young bucks. It still feels like Big Ten, Big 12, even though I know it's not. Welcome to the SEC. I'm super excited for this game, just to kind of see Bryce Underwood looked really good in what he was given in that first game. Obviously, it wasn't a huge game last week for them, but I'm kind of excited to see what is going to happen with Bryce Underwood this year and how he develops. Being a true freshman starter is a lot for any kid, but he seems like he is kind of poised to handle it. That being said, I do think that this Oklahoma team, and I do think John Matier is a really good quarterback. I think he's going to be able to lead Michigan to the win, who's still has a great defense, but I think still going to be trying to plug in some things on offense that they're kind of looking for with this younger quarterback.
Yeah, and the game's in Norman, correct?
Yeah,
So you got to go on the road for Bryce, who I am so high on his potential as a player and looking forward to watching his career continue to unfold. But it's challenging to go on the road, and I didn't get a chance to watch either of these teams closely last week, just some clips and highlights here and there. But I know
I was able to watch that New Mexican game with Michigan. A bunch of it was going on at the same time as LSU, and
did you call it the New Mexican game?
Yeah.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah. No, it was a bunch of New Mexican.
We need to rein it in because I don't know where what's about to happen right now. But I do know that John
Mexico Michigan game.
I do know John Matier and that Oklahoma offense had a big week this past week, and that there was a lot of buzz coming out of just what the Oklahoma offense looked like with him and some of those new pieces there, in a way that made me more concerned about LSU having to go there in November than I want to be right now, early in the season. And so I'm going to go with Oklahoma to win at home, take care of business. Again, everything we just talked about. Oklahoma looking good, Michigan on the road with a young quarterback, etc.
All right, next up, University of Louisiana at Monroe at number 21 Bama, 6:45 on SEC Network. As much as I would love.
Could this be ULM boosting its bowl resume?
Absolutely amazing. I think Bama's going to go ahead and take care of business. This is a kind of get-right game for them. If they don't come out and look really pissed off and beat the hell out of ULM, sorry, Warhawks, I'm going to be so ecstatic that this Bama team is just shitty. Curse starter. Boop.
Make a mental note.
Mental note. What is that at? Okay, 30 minutes. Okay. There we go. I can make a note so I can make a curse chart later.
That Alabama team better come out ticked off. If you're an Alabama fan, first of all, but secondly, if you're an Alabama fan and this team does not come out firing on close to all cylinders against ULM after the abysmal start to the season against Florida State this past week, then I don't need to say it's time to sound the alarms and hit the panic button, because I think the Alabama fans already are at this point. But yeah, they need this, not just a win, obviously, but they need to look good badly.
Some of the Alabama fans, I was listening to Baton Rouge's very own Van Lathan on the College Tailgate show.
Shout out, Van.
He went on to Reddit and the Alabama Reddit during the game, right after they lost live, and was just reading everything, and it was hilarious. They're losing their minds. It's awesome. Keep doing it. I hope the free fall continues. I hope we're both wrong on this. Go Warhawks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. I love that Van did that too. There are times where Allison, I say something and Allison's like,
Big Al,
such a little shit sturge. I'm like, why? And that's Van. His MO is
that
pretty great.
1,000%. If you want a fun time, he on his podcast Higher Learning, they interviewed New York's mayoral candidate Eric Adams, who was charged with major corruption, and they really pissed him off. It was great. But yes, he's a pot stirrer for sure. That being said, I do think Bama, I think they kind of at least right the ship for one weekend. But I still have a lot of questions about this Bama team moving forward.
There's a lot of the similarities to what I mentioned with Louisiana Tech with ULM, where ULM has the nice shutout victory to start the season and whatnot. But I think a lot to be built upon a lot that they didn't feel great about in terms of execution and whatnot, particularly on offense coming out of that game. And so they're going to have a really difficult time going into Bryant-Denny and having success against a ticked off Alabama team.
Okay, now their spread is 36.5. Do you take ULM to cover?
I don't know. I feel better if you're talking about the two North Louisiana teams and which one you want to put money on to cover. I think I feel better about Louisiana Tech keeping it within 37 of LSU.
I'm going to go with ULM. Let's do a little side bet there, since it feels like we're gonna chalk it up today. I feel like we're gonna pick the same stuff with the two games that we have left. Let's make a little side bet. I bet that ULM covers, and if they both don't cover, then whatever. We'll just keep it chalked up. But we'll go a little side bet. Are you?
Yeah. What do I have?
Shake hands.
Well, we're outside right now, right? Aren't we? Or are you on this?
No. Yeah. No, that was right.
Are we the same for you?
Yeah.
We're opposite for me. We're both like just outside.
No, I love it. Well, you did it correctly, so that was great.
Anyway,
all right. Little side bet that we got going on. I say that ULM is going to cover. Jared says that La Tech is going to cover on their gigantic spreads.
I think they're more likely to cover. I don't think they're.
Listen, pick a stance. I'm trying to make this show. I'm not trying to make this pick 'em a stick 'em. You know, that didn't make sense. All right. Next up, McNeese at the UL Cajuns, 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. I think UL is going to come back. I know we have some news about Walker Howard and his injury right now. Doesn't look like he's going to play. I'll let you go into that whenever you give the recap. But I think that a week full of practice with Daniel Beal in there, and also just the fact that McNeese, while they are 1-0, yes, I still think they are that FCS team going against an FBS team. Just the quality is a little bit better. I don't expect McNeese to be able to stick around the entire game, and I think UL will take care of business and get this done.
We still don't have confirmation on the exact injury for Walker Howard, but it doesn't sound great. Coach Dez on Wednesday night said he was not moving around very well still on Wednesday. And so we'll kind of see what that progression looks like. But I know that the Cajuns felt good about all of their quarterbacks throughout that offseason battle. Daniel Beal and Lunch Winfield, the two more in-state guys itching for their opportunities. And Beal is a kid that he was thrown into tough spots early in his high school career at Catholic of Baton Rouge because of an injury to a senior. And so he went from being like the freshman quarterback to being starting varsity against Acadiana in a span of like 2 or 3 weeks, and held his own, was fine under pressure. He's had a couple of opportunities to get into some games early on in his college career thus far, but it has, the ones that the spotlight has been on have been because of veterans getting injured in games where things are not going well for the Cajuns anyway. And so he's had trouble kind of getting settled. But I think that with this opportunity, this week of preparation and, getting to play an FCS opponent at home and all those things, I expect Daniel Beal to come out and play well. He's got an LSU transfer, and his former high school teammate Shelton Sampson is one of his go-to receivers. And so there's some familiarity there. And I think that the Cajuns do shake back and get that first win in the renovated Cajun field to start the season. Even that record back up to 1-1. Defense, was good this past week, should be good again. And I think they get a little bit more going offensively here and, put up some points and then suddenly
get a win in the new stadium. Come on, guys, let's go. Just saying.
It's the same stadium. It's in the same place. It's nicer now. There's been a lot of bells and whistles and
new stadium
added. But this will be an interesting one we talked about watching how that Tulane quarterback dynamic kind of continues to progress. If Daniel kind of gets his feet under him and starts playing well, you know how tricky some of those type of situations can be for, the fan base is starting to pick sides of which quarterback they want to see whenever a guy gets back healthy. But the Cajuns have done a really nice job in recent years managing multiple quarterback dynamics and, guys coming back from injury when another guy has excelled. And so they are prepared for all that. And most importantly is, let that come if it comes. Daniel Beal needs to go out there and have himself a nice Saturday this week, and I think he will.
Absolutely. All right, final game of the week is going to be our first NFL game. NFL starts tonight as we're recording this. Thursday Night Football is tonight. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the game of the week. Cardinals at Saints, 12 p.m. CBS. Saints kick off their season. Everyone is picking the Saints to be bad, including me.
I think you picked them to win this game, though, didn't you? In the preseason predictions?
You did.
No.
Yes.
I have them starting 0-4 and not winning until the Giants come to town, which is a question mark anyway. Yeah.
Did I have them get this game? Well, let's go. Yeah. Hey, go Saints. Who dat? Saints are picking up an off-kilter dub on the first week, and then it's going to be rough.
If you're going to get one in the first 4 weeks, this feels like the one to get. You're at home against a team from out west, and kind of rely on some of the early season excitement and the home crowd and all those things. I don't love it. I'm going to go with the Cardinals to take care of business. I don't think this is going to be another one of those seasons like last year where we get some early fool's gold and things are looking shockingly exciting early on. I think it's going to be a little bit ugly of a game overall, and I'm going to take the Cardinals to pull it out.
That's probably going to be right, but whatever.
I had to bully you into us having a different game picked somewhere along the way so I can start taking my lead on you. I hope not, man. I hope you come out a game ahead of me next week.
I just like the way the W looks as opposed to the L. Actually, that's not true. I love the way the L looks. It's nice. Okay.
I'm about to get on a tangent, and I'll try to keep it short because we're already longer than I think we thought we'd be with just the fast 7 or pick 7 or whatever.
Yeah, it was not a fast 7. That's why I said PODnas pick 7. We had to take that fast word out of it.
How familiar are you with the Will Smith and Margot Robbie movie Focus, which I think is a fantastic film? Just a lot of fun to throw on in the background. So then I won't spoil this for you, but there is an element of the Chicago Cubs like fly the W, that you see the W all over town in Chicago, obviously, that I was going to wonder, a similarity to a plot line from the movie, essentially, which you should watch soon. If that maybe factored in and made you a more positive game picker because you just saw the W everywhere around town, and so you kind of lean that way.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. That's actually probably true. So that is going to be all that we got for you today. We'll let you know how we do on Monday when we come back for our recap show for the weekend. See how we did on these PODnas Pick 7s. We'll do a PODnas Pick 7 recap, obviously. But until then, the Louisiana versus all y'all site is
it's live. It's funky.
We ran
into some issues that we're still trying to clean back up, but folks can go to it and read some of these stories and find episodes of PODnas on there. This will be on there Friday morning. There and still on the YouTube channel, obviously. But yeah, go check it out. But be kind for a few days until we figure out what the hell happened upon launch late Wednesday night.
Absolutely. So go check that out. That is LouisianaVersusAllYall.com. And then also, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe. That helps us out a bunch. Please, 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 please. And then you can find us on Instagram and Twitter, LA versus all y'all, and PODnas_LA on Instagram. That's all we got for you today. Jared, you got anything before we get out?
I'd love for folks to follow and like and subscribe and all that. I won't say please like 3 or 4 times in a row. I'm not a beggar,
Please,
do it.
Please.
If you do it, that's great, and I'll be happy about it. And if you don't,
I will beg. Please do this for us.
That's your prerogative. Bobby Brown.
Right. This is, we're like yin and yang. I have black headphones, you have white headphones. It's great. This is how life should be, a mixture of everyone's everything. That didn't work. All right, there we go. That's all we have for you today, Podnas.